I actually want to start somewhere that I normally hate going to.
I was curious how long this would take you to
I
get
thought
to.
the officiating was an abomination in that game. And I think the dichotomy between the calls that Tyrese Maxey did not get, where he's getting hacked, he's getting hooked on drives, he's getting beaten up pretty good, and could not get a whistle. Meanwhile, and I say this as someone who, like, I think the Giannis travels all the time thing is overblown. I think there are a lot of people who watch the NBA who don't understand what a gather step is, and that's a discussion for another day. But there were several times tonight where Giannis is clearly establishing a pivot foot, then establishing a second pivot foot. And it's like, all right, man, like you can't just make up rules as you go for this guy, which is what it seemed like they were doing. So I thought that was horrendous. And I thought, honestly, one of the big inflection points in the fourth quarter, not that I thought the Sixers played well enough in that quarter to win, but I thought one of the big moments was I believe it was a 3-point game at that point. Giannis gets away with a travel. Not only gets away with a travel, Mo Bamba then picks up a foul call after the travel has happened. And instead of turnover, Sixers go the other way, have a chance to cut it to a single point potentially. The Bucks stretched the lead to 5, and they never really got that close. It was as close as 3 the rest of the way. But that just felt like a snapshot of the entire night where, look, the Bucks are going to get more calls. They're going to get more whistles. They'll go to the free throw line more because Giannis is a freight train and just blows through people and deserves to go to the line quite a bit. He doesn't need to be assisted by the refs and have travels completely ignored in the middle of the game.
But my issue, and I'm like you, I don't like complaining about the refs. I think it's something that all fan bases do in every game, and it's overdone. That being said, it wasn't just Giannis. And Giannis is tough to call a game for, but that travel wasn't borderline. Like, that wasn't a gather step. That was clearly a travel.
That's an easy one, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a B-ball Paul double dribble late in the third quarter where clearly the ball was poked away from him and he gathered it back and then went. There was a foul on Maxey right there at the end where I forget who it was, but had his hand all over Maxey's arm as he was driving down the paint. There was all kinds of calls. It wasn't just Giannis getting away with push-offs. I think when Giannis gets away with stuff, it's more the push-offs with his offhand or his shoulder, more so than a gather step that I have a problem with. But there were calls all up and down the floor on all kinds of players that just weren't going the Sixers' way, and it was very, very frustrating. And specifically, the frustrating ones come to me for Maxey because I feel like he's at a point where he should get more respect than he is. I think he got a number of calls. He could have gone 4 or 5 more times the free throw line again.
Yeah. And in a close game, it just completely changes. One, it can change the momentum at that moment, but also when you get down to the end of the game and they're going back and forth, 3-point game, 5-point game, those little things add up.
Yeah, it was a 9-0 run. The Bucks took over a 91-87 lead after the Sixers led for a good portion of the game. They go up 96-90. The Sixers then come back with a 5-0 run there to cut the lead after going down 100-92. They get it to 5 there with 3:52 to play. And not only could it change the momentum in terms of how the game is played there because of certain players on the floor, how they can defend. You never know who's picking up that foul on those drives where Tyrese Maxey is going to the basket. Sure, it's his initial defender, but then there were help defenders that came over. He was making those tough shots with 2 people on him and not a call. Could have been Brook Lopez, who was very good at protecting the rim. Could have been Giannis Antetokounmpo, who picks up a bad foul, a cheap foul somewhere along the way. That they have to be careful for how they defend the Sixers and Maxey down the stretch. And with those types of things, where Maxey has it rolling, he does deserve those calls. It doesn't matter necessarily.
He's not a rookie anymore,
no, he's
man.
Not.
He just
he's
made
a
an all-star
player,
team.
made the all-star team, and he shouldn't have to continue to raise his arms and ask where the foul call is after they knock him to his seat. And it was very, very clear. And to your point, to both of your point, Giannis doesn't need help. He's that good. So when he does make a travel and the official is standing about 3 feet away from him and is very, very easy to call, the entire Sixers bench is jumping up. Sometimes those things happen where the other officials gather and say, hey, he traveled. Ball goes the other way. You're down 3. Yes, you can go and score a bucket to cut it to 1. You can also go down there and score a bucket to tie the game at 3 if they make a 3-pointer. That's how good Tyrese Maxey was tonight. So while you don't want to go to the officials, it's very clear there that that's how things were also a part of the game, a part of how things turned around in that fourth quarter. The Sixers lost that quarter in a big way, 34-22. But Maxey should have at least gotten the same calls as Giannis. He may not be as physical, but with his speed and going into that contact and being so good that they have to defend him a certain way, he should have got the same type of whistle that Giannis did.
We all silly like the mayor.